Hello everyone! In this video I would like to show you some new features we have recently added to PioSolver. So the first one is the new betsize coloring scheme. So how does it look like? For example, let's create some sample tree with large bed sizes and small array sizes. So we have built this tree now, and right now I have configured the old style coloring. So in this old style coloring, the first bed size always has the same color throughout this tree. So we have these different, very different bed sizes in percent, but they all have the same color because they are all first bed size. So now what we have added here in the configuration is that we can show betsize colors based on the bed size in percent of the pot. So we have this GUI window here where we can configure thresholds and colors. The way it works is that we define certain thresholds. So the first threshold I have is 25%, and any bet lower than 25% will have exactly this very bright color. Then another threshold is 65%, and the bet with this size will have this color. And we also specify the last threshold here, which is 200, and we specify here dark red color. So these exact sizes will have these exact colors that we specify here, and any color in between will be interpolated. So the bed size, which is roughly half between 65 and 200, will have a color that is roughly halfway between these two. And here at the bottom we have a presentation of all bed sizes from 5% to 200% and what will be their color. There's also an option to use separate color for an all-in, which I have it as purple here. Okay, so now if we refresh the view, we can see that all of these bed sizes now have actually different colors. So the first bed size is relatively high, so it has dark salmon color. The small bed sizes have light salmon colors, and then all-in has purple. If we, for example, build a tree with a lot of bed sizes, then we can see them here with a nice gradient from small to high, and the purple for an all-in. Whatever this all-in is, it's always going to be purple in the settings. So that's the bed size coloring feature. And now let's move on to PioViewer URI links. It's a way to create a textual links that when opened will open some particular feature of PioSolver. So to begin with, we have started with two types of links. The first is trainer session links and tree file links. So how does it work? So we can go to the PioViewer, we can open some file, and we can say file, copy link to current tree. So what it will do, it will copy the link to the clipboard, and the link look like that, PioViewer. So this is the protocol, so it's a new PioViewer protocol. And now if we open this link, it should open PioViewer tree, which is stored at this path. So when you start PioViewer, you should get prompted to make file associations, or you can always go to configuration, CFR file associations, and click open CFR files and URI links with this program. Okay, so now I can close the PioViewer, and in the new tab we can paste this link we copied from PioViewer. We'll be prompted to open PioViewer, and there we go. Another thing we can do in here is we can say copy link to current tree at current node. We can close it again, we can paste it here, open PioViewer, and this will open PioViewer in this file in the node where we have selected it. So for example, when you make some session nodes, you can paste here the link to a particular tree, and then you can open it. And if you have some editor where the links show up as clickable stuff, then you can just click it and it will open in PioViewer. Another thing we can open with URI links are trainer sessions. So if we go to Tools, Trainer, and have some sessions here, we can copy link to a session, and it looks like PioViewer Trainer Session 2. And again, if we paste this link to our new tab and we open PioViewer, then it will open a new table with a session that we just copied. So it's a quicker way, if you have a lot of sessions, to jump into the session that you want. And if you have any troubles with the feature, like it doesn't work at all, you can always test this link on our website, which is PioViewer Hello, and you should see this this window. If it doesn't show, then it means that the file associations don't work. So these links, of course, make no sense to share between computers because they're links to local stuff on your computer, but still they should be quite useful. Another feature we have added to PioViewer recently is so-called custom geometries. The way it works is that in configuration, presentation browser, we can select custom geometry file for a results grid. So once we select this file, we can create custom geometry. So first I will show an example. So if we select this custom geometry, we can use it. And then it's possible to specify that the grid where the hands are located looks differently. So in this particular geometry, which was proposed by one of our users, the squares for offsuit hands are proportionally larger than those of, for example, suited hands by the number of combos. So it means that whenever we look, for example, at a range, we see the proportion of offsuit hands in the whole range a bit better. The way this format looks is like that. So we have a big array which has 3 values, grid size in both directions, and then geometry. And geometry is a list of all categories where we specify where on the grid it should be located and what is the size of the particular category. Another feature in PioViewer 3.8 is the new solver terminal. So if you are an advanced user of PioSolver, you might have used in the past our arbitrary solver console, where you can, for example, call solver commands like show range and whatnot. And we decided to make a new terminal which behaves a bit more like a normal programming terminal, but also has a cool things like this display grid, which can show the results of the command. So for example, we can say show range out of position player in certain node, and we can see the range in here. We can also say show strategy in this node, and we can also see the strategy, and we can also call other commands like benchmark or is ready or show, I don't know, show all frags, global, and those commands which return something that can be presented on the grid will present them. Otherwise, they will just be outputted on the screen, and we have stuff like copy last result. I think it's a nice addition to the PioViewer, and it works fairly nice. In this version, we also have improved the ICM calculator. So if we go to Tools, ICM calculator, we have these two graphs in here, which let us view the ICM function for both players. So for example, we can have some tournament structure where one player has a bigger stack than the other. And we can see that in this situation, the function of larger stack is more linear than the function of the small stack, but nothing really crazy. But if you would make this scenario on a bubble, then suddenly the function of the smaller stack become a bit more curved, which means that the chips, the survival chips for this player are worth more than doubling up. And we would also, for example, create some very small stack somewhere in the field. Then the function for the small stack becomes even more nonlinear. And the same applies for the HRC JSON. So if you import a structure from HRC into PioViewer, you can also look at the function that is defined by those points. And in this case, we can see, I don't really know what this import is from, but we can see that the functions are relatively nonlinear for this particular exported spot. And one more improvement I'd like to mention for the recent updates is the ability to more precisely select what should happen when we open the new tree. So we can go to the Behavior tab and we can select what should we do after loading the tree. So which tab should be open. So for example, we can say if it should be currently open tab, or if we should always switch to the browser tab, or if we should always switch to the tree configuration tab. Then what should be displayed after loading the tree? So either nothing, or select default, which is specified below, or keep the same as currently displayed. So for example, if I select keep the same as currently displayed, and I will select show strategy and equity, then if we apply and we close the viewer, if we start it and we go file load selected some tree, then we see strategy and equity like we selected in the configuration. But if, for example, now I would say that I want to show strategy and react, and on the second side I want to show range, then because we have selected in the configuration that we should keep the same as currently displayed, then when I open a new file now, then it will show strategy and react plus range. So you can check on our website the full list of improvements we did for the last releases. There are some minors that I have not included in this video. I hope you like these features. I hope you enjoyed my presentation of them, and hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching.